Mishnah, Talmud, whatever, right? How many people are going to assume with the Zohar? How many people are going to assume with the Zohar? Right. Okay, as you well appreciate, this is extremely rare.
You did all the Zohar?
Extremely rare. The 10 volumes over there took me 20 years.
Wow.
I did not intend to finish it. The truth is, I started with Rabbi Dr Abrahami over 20 years. We used to go to the Ben Ish Chai Shiurim, and then he used to have once a week an extract from the Zohar, and I got hooked on it. Indeed, for me to learn a daf of the Zohar takes 1/10 of the time that to learn one daf of the Talmud. Reason is simple. The Sulam edition of the Zohar had Hebrew commentary, the Ivrit Zohar in very clear Hebrew, which is not the case with the Talmud, unless you get the Art Scroll or some the Steinsaltz edition, and you have the English, and the Talmud is much longer. So I'm very privileged. I thank Hashem that He gave me the opportunity, the strength and tenacity. I really did not know what I was doing when I started. I did a bit of different volumes with Rabbi Abrahami and with one or two other Rabbanim. And over the years I decided to fill the gap, so I went right to the beginning. This is something monumental. I don't believe ever in Edgeware, I don't know even England ever, or even if you do a search on the internet for Siyumim, you find plenty of Shas. There are hundreds of them, maybe thousands. But this is extremely rare. I had a competition with Mashiach. I said to my wife, who is going to arrive first? I hope that he would interrupt me. But hopefully he will be here very soon. Just I want to do the Siyum. The Zohar is not one book, as you know. It's a collection of different books. Tikkun Zohar, Zohar Chadash, the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, the Chumash, and then another Chumash abbreviated, and Chamesh Megillot at the end. We have a tradition that it appeared by Rabbi Moshe ben Leon in Spain, 13th century or thereabout, and it's been accepted by most as genuine writing of Eliyahu Navi, who taught Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the cave in Meron, near Tzfat, where they escaped, him and his son, from the Romans, and for 13 years they learned from Eliyahu Navi. And indeed, the Zohar follows a very similar style to Midrashic literature. Okay? Yes, there is a very mystical, very deep part which freaks you out, and this is why it's not for everybody. Thank goodness everybody here almost is over 40, almost. Don't have to raise your hand. We Sfaradim, we don't have a problem with it because we are brought right from the beginning to learn the Zohar, even if we don't understand it. In the outside we read the Zohar, the Adra Rabbah, Adra Zuta, in addition, or instead of Tehillim. What I want to do, I want to finish off the 5 Megillot in a moment. Eicha is the last of the 10 books, the 10 volumes which have the edition of the Sulam. The page is slightly different from other editions of the Zohar. You see all these marks, all the things over the years that I found. Eicha is, as you can imagine, quite depressing. So, just for the sake to finish off Eicha, I will finish with a positive note. We will go to Midrash Ruth. Ruth, the Moabite, who's a model of conversion. From her came, of course, David HaMelech, Mashiach, that we expect every day. And I will explain something at the end. At the end of Midrash Ruth, there's a missing text. The commentator Rabbi Yehuda Leib Ashlag, Halevi Ashlag, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh V'Bracha, who wrote the Sulam magnum opus in the 50s, and he made it so much accessible to people to read the Zohar. But you cannot do it on your own. Even if you're fluent in Hebrew and Aramaic, you need a teacher. So I had a teacher for the best part of 10 years, 10, 15 years, and I completed the rest myself. So already he taught me the Shita, how to read it, how to understand it, how to interpret it, and there's this code, this old code and symbolism, and so on and so forth. I just want to read the end of Eicha. I'll translate it, and then we go to Midrash Ruth, which is a little bit involved. Don't worry, all these pages there we are not going to read, there's no time, but I will go very briefly through the chapter headings. and come to the climax, to the end piece. And thank you for Rabbi Chaim Azulai, who reminded me that yesterday before sunset it was Kaf Hei Be'elul, right? When the world was born, created, and then completed the Rosh Hashanah when Adam B'Chava and all the universe was created. And of course, Rav Azulai reminded me that today's, or yesterday was Kaf Hei Be'elul, was the Yotzai, the Askar Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Zecher Tzadik Kadosh L'Vracha, Zchutot Agen Alenu. And everybody's listening here, not just you. Chaverim Makshivim Lekolech Hashmeini. In Shir HaShirim, it means the angels are looking upon us. They're learning what we're saying, and they transmit it upstairs, and then they will judge what we learned. Hopefully, they will judge us to the merit, because we're coming to Rosh Hashanah, and we all need to be judged for merit. So,
Amen.
the Zohar, Midrash Echa, it's called actually Midrash. A lot of the parts of the Zohar are like Midrash root. He talks about the 10 Harugei Malchut, the 10 righteous great tzaddikim, who were executed in a most vicious way by the Romans. The gist of it, the Zohar says, that Reuven, 10 neshamot of the 12 tribes, reincarnated in the 10 tzaddikim. And the Zohar says that Reuven was saved, for his neshama was not included in those that were executed. I'll just read the last two paragraphs in Aramaic, then in Hebrew, then in English. ואחד עינון 10 מרגלה נפקו מגן עדן להתלבשה בלבושים אחרונים כלהו לבושים התמסרו בידיו לנחש בר חד יהיו ראובן דכתיב וישב ראובן אל הבור וישב ראובן אל הבור ועל דהב עיתה למרמל לבירה יתפס יהיו בבירה וישתזיב ודע יהיו רבי אליעזר הגדול כת תפסו למינות ויהבו בבירה וישתזבת נשמתה דראובן. As clear as mud, right? Okay, let's decipher it. Let's decipher it. וכשאלו, כשאלו 10 מרגליות, 10 pearls, means the 10 neshamot of those great tzaddikim who were executed in the hands of the Romans. יצאו מגן עדן, they got out of גן עדן, להתלבש בלבושים אחרים, to enclose themselves in different clothing. We understand, I don't mean a suit. Right? דהיינו בגופות אחרים. The Zohar tells us that the bodies that were tortured and executed in the hands of the Romans were not the bodies of the 10 tzaddikim. Yes, they did die, but they were something else. Other entities were actually tortured and killed. כל הלבושים נמסרו בידי הנחש. All the bodies, the enclosed garments, if you like, of the neshama, namely the body, were given to the nachash, the sitra achra, to the serpent. חוץ מאחד, except one, שהוא ראובן, who is Reuven, שכתוב וישב ראובן אל הבור. It is written, Reuven came back to the pit, where it's Yosef HaTzadik. ועל שראובן נתן עצה, and because Reuven gave advice, להשליך את יוסף אל הבור, to throw Yosef to the pit, נתפס גם הוא בבור, he also got caught in the pit. וניצל, but his redemption was that he avoided the killing, he prevented the killing of Yosef HaTzadik. וזהו רבי אליעזר הגדול. The גלגול of Reuven is רבי אליעזר הגדול. In the book גלגול נשמות של אריזל ורבי חיים ויטל, of the reincarnations of the soul, there is a whole chapter that tells you which rabbi came from which biblical figure. Okay? There's a whole list of them, very long list. שהיה גלגול נשמת ראובן. רבי אליעזר הגדול was the גלגול, the reincarnation of רבי אליעזר הגדול, who was not executed. כשתפסו למילוט והושיבו בבור, and they captured him for doing something which is inappropriate, דהיינו בכלא, in the prison. ונשמת ראובן ניצלה שלא הרגו. כלא, prison has two meanings. The negative, the obvious meaning, is when חס וחלילה a person has to go to prison for doing wrong things, or maybe for doing the right thing, but being accused wrongly or whatever. And bakele also means lichlo, is to lock. When you lock something, you protect it for something else. When you put your money, you put it in the vault. Hopefully not with the banksters, because it's not safe. Recently they went to some vaults and they tried to find the alleged gold ingots and silver bars, and they found they are not theirs. The banksters use it for proprietary trading, which is against the law, but still nobody goes to prison. Just coming back quickly to our subject. The idea of the Zohar was that Arizal, Adonai Rabbi Yitzchak Luri Ashkenazi, Zecher Tzadik V'Rosh Levracha, who lived in Tzafat in the 16th century. That was a center of Torah learning, big center of Torah learning. He combined the teachings of all his predecessors and unified the field of Qabala. It's called Luriani Qabala. He took from the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cortuvero, he took from Rabbi Abulafia, and many other Mekubalim before his time, and unified it to what we call Luriani Qabala. That's what we have today. And indeed, our prayers are impacted greatly by the Zohar. Brich Shmere, Shmede Mare, you open the Ark, it's a Qabbalah, it's a text from the Zohar. And we Sfaradim and Hasidim who say Patach Eliyahu at least once a week. When I say at least, for those of us who do Tikkun Chatzot, we say it in Tikkun Chatzot. For those of us who have extra time before Mincha, before Shacharit, and before Shacharit nobody got extra time. Shabbat, normally we have extra time, we do Patach Eliyahu. And I'll go through this text a little bit, and then I'll come right to the end, to the punchline, to the siyum of Midrash Root. So the Luriani Kabbalah, and indeed before him, they divided our relationship with Etz HaChaim, with the Tree of Life, and Hashem, the prayers and interaction of mankind with the divine, through 10 heavenly channels. And as you might have seen this picture, it's called Etz HaChaim, yes, the Tree of Life. It's a classical picture, okay? Classical picture starting from bottom to top, from top to bottom. This is a way to depict it. It's not accurate, this is just a visual idea how Etz HaChaim is compiled. So we got Keter, we got the crown. By the way, it relates to the body, crown, shoulders, belly, lower parts. The person's mapping of the physical entity is mapped in the Tree of Life. Okay? So you got Chokhmah and Bina. Chokhmah and Bina. Chesed, loving kindness, is Avraham Avinu, Alav Shalom. Gvura on the left, might is Yitzchak, Avinu Alav Shalom. In the middle, truth, it's a mediation, the Yaakov. Alav Shalom. Aharon, Hod, yes, splendor, and you got Netzach, victories, Moshe Rabbeinu. Yesod, this area. Why this area? Do you know what happened to Yosef? Why you call Yosef Hatzadik, with her idea. Nobody in the Torah is called Hatzadik, only Yosef. There's nobody in the Torah, in the whole history of the Jewish people, who was subjected to daily temptations by the wife of the master of the house. In every possible way. And there's no way that ordinary human being could have done what Yosef HaTzadik did. He overcome the natural temptation. Nobody would have known, nobody would have seen, except the Almighty and his forefathers. And this is called Yosef HaTzadik. Because we have three things that tempt the person, typically. Is kavod, money, and physical pleasures. And physical pleasure is the most difficult to contain. It's called Yosef HaTzadik. And underneath, Malchut, David HaMelech. And the question is asked, why Malchut? Malchut should be the Keter. The truth is that Malchut is all the way from down to up. A king who is out of touch with his people, he doesn't walk in the street, doesn't understand the spirit of the people, he cannot be a king. But a king who doesn't elevate himself to Keter cannot be a king. And that's David HaMelech. David HaMelech, who was not afraid to dance in front of the Sefer Torah, the Ark, and he was mocked for this, and all sort of things were said about him, about his origin, and this and the other, but David HaMelech prevailed, because he was a tzanua, just like the earth, but he was great, the greatest king we've had. So that's David HaMelech. And why Yesod beforehand? We have a tradition that after the world was created, we have what the concept we call Shvirat Kelim. The vessels were broken because of the sins, the transgression of Adam and Chava, eating from the tree of knowledge, and so on and so forth. And since then, the world is in a state of imperfection, it's fragmented. What we do with our avodah, with our prayers, going to shul, learning Torah, we unite the sfirot until we have the momentum, the critical mass of power. When we unite the sfirah, then we have Mashiach. And we're very close to it now. Our job is almost finished, not quite, but very close to it. Bezrat Hashem. As you can see all around us, what's happening. So, this is the concept in the Kabbalistic form. In a Pshat form, we do what it says. 613 mitzvot from the Torah, 7 from the rabbis, 620, very tall order, because we don't have Eretz Israel and all the mitzvot we can keep properly in the Bet HaMikdash. We can only keep a small part of it. But nevertheless, on a tikkun, on a basic level, we're doing the basic level. For those of us who are a bit initiated and learn a little bit more, they understand. But it makes no difference. Hashem gives equal reward to those who learn one way or the other. As long as mechaben, we are putting our heart to Hashem, to heaven. Now, Patach Eliyahu, the concept is on Patach Eliyahu, the prophet Elijah, of blessed memory, opened and said, Master of the worlds, you are one who cannot be comprehended, whose unity is infinite and absolute, invisible and transcendent beyond all that is above, and concealed behind all that is concealed. No thought whatsoever can grasp you. You alone created the starry galaxies and the earth. From the galaxies above you brought forth sun and moon, planets and starry constellations. On the earth below you brought forth trees and humanity, and so on and so forth. From the time the temple was destroyed, the last letter, Hey, of Hashem's name, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, was, as it were, taken away by the Sitra Achra, by the other side. So Hashem's name, in a matter of speaking, yes, in a matter of speaking, is incomplete because we are in Galut. The letter Hey, according to Patach Eliyahu, was taken away by the Galut, by the going to exile and diaspora. And this is the separation in Hashem's name. Yeah. So therefore he said, when we have redemption and we have the resurrection of the dead, as we mentioned specifically the Avot, Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, Rabbeinu, Tzaddik Alav Shalom, Aharon, David HaMelech, Shlomo, all the great tzaddikim, when we all wake up, there's an order of waking up. When they all wake up and walk with the Mashiach, yes, Eliyahu Navi will come beforehand. The most common tradition is Eliyahu Navi should come 24 hours. So when he comes to the Bet Knesset Gadol in Yerushalayim and announce Mashiach, everybody should be ready. Okay, no panic. There's another tradition, he might give us more time, 72 hours, maybe 3 days, whichever it is, that we should be ready. So we should understand what's going to happen. And just a quick word on the opening of the ark, Parashat Va'akel, Brich Shmei Mareh, which we read. Blessed is the name of the Master of the universe, blessed is your crown and your place, may your flavor remains with your people of Israel forever, etc., etc. And it always upset me a great deal that people during the ark, when it's opened, have a conversation. Halabai, it's a big conversation about Torah. Most often, it's not a conversation about Torah. What they don't understand, if they could see it, they are standing instead of in face of the Shekhinah. Can you imagine going to the temple? You're going to bring, and we're going to have it soon, please God. You go to the temple, you do Aliyah L'Regel, you get there, you bring your korban, you bring your gift, whatever it is that you bring, and the Kohen Gadol takes it from you, and you're facing the Shekhinah, and you start talking to somebody else. Can you imagine being called to Buckingham Palace, to the Queen, and while she's saying to you, I'll give you the knighthood or whatever. We're all knights, by the way. We're all knights. Every Jew is a prince. We're all knights. We are born with knighthood. We don't need all these honors. We have one. It's called Keter Torah, above all. When you go to the Queen, she talks to you and you turn around and... There's one exception. Abraham Avinu did it for good reason. Because at Chanshat Orchim, he had the 3 angels. Okay? So there's the only exception. But we can't do that. We shouldn't do that. So this is just a note. So he said, we're only relying on you, Hashem, and of course we have this additional bakashot and the Hag, 13 attributes of mercy. We ask Hashem to put us right. Now, I'm coming to the final part, the Speedy Gonzales. We're nearly there. Nearly there. After all, I get 20 years to condense into half an hour. It's a tall order. Even though I'm tall, got bigger a bit over the time. But still. Midrash Rush has got more essays, more articles than any other book of the Zohar. I tried to count all of them correctly. I don't know if I got the counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are about over 30 different essays. Some essays are only half a page, but they're extremely profound. Very, very profound. Why Midrash Ruth specifically? The answer is Midrash Ruth talks not only about the Giur of Ruth, the Moabite, who became a Jewess, and it gives you a model. The Zohar goes on. It explains the neshama, how the neshama passes from being a Gentile, a foreign neshama, to a Jewish neshama. Indeed, according to most opinions, Ruth was already converted on a quickie before she married her late husband. But she had to do it properly. She had to do it second time. Okay, the first one was not done properly. So it talks about the parts of the neshama, the connection between the neshama and the body. I've got a very long list. I'll send it for those of you who do not have your email address. I'll give you at the end in a moment a book. If you can write your email address, I'll send it to you as a PDF. Yeah. It talks about the different chambers in the heavenly realm, where the prophets sit, where the great righteous people sit, where the neshamot of those who pronounce Shema perfectly. Don't miss a word. Very important. It talks about the chamber of Mashiach. Mashiach has a chamber there also. He's waiting for the instruction to reveal himself. It talks about the palace of tears. Rachel Imenu, Mevakal Banea. Rachel Imenu, who sits and cry for us. The women's chamber, the prophets, the prophetess. All different places. It talks about who's Elijah the prophet. The mitzvah of the mezuzah. Boaz, about his neshama, who he was, what he was. Why did he have to meet Ruth and become the husband? And so on and so forth. I just picked up on 2 points which are very close to my heart. There's something I said to some people before, very few people. It talks about the cup of blessing. That's the final 2 points that I'm going to finish. Kos habracha. And the other one talking about the heavenly chamber, especially heavenly chamber, with 4 openings, 4 windows. West, east, south and north. Okay? Just I want to talk Kos habracha. He talks about the Kos habracha, and we, the Sfaradim and Mekubalim, Erev Shabbat, we have a special meditation from the Zohar about Kos habracha. Okay, Kos habracha. Habracha in Gematria is 232. 232. Okay? Kos, the otiyot bemilui. If you add up how you pronounce the letters and add the subletters to make that word, kaf, this is a kaf, right? Kaf and pei. Vav, twice vav. 6 each. You got the walls of the cup, yeah? You understand, yeah? Vav, it's a vav, 2 vavs. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. This makes a vav, 2 vavs, so the circumference of the cup. That's your cup. Samech, the spelling of the word samech. Samech make the word sod. Right? Nichnas yain yetza sod. Wine entered, secret came out. Now, the gematria of this is as follows. Kaf, the full spelling is 100. 20 and 80. Vav is 6 and 6 is 12. Samech is 16, 40 and 20 is 120. Add it all together, 232. We also have a minhag, the Mekubalim and the Sfaradim and Hasidim, to add a tiny bit of water to the cup of wine. We say L'chaim, lehavdil, from the very heavy wine that was given at time of the Sanhedrin for those who were never executed. And the yain represents din, red, judgment. Water, chesed, Avraham Avinu. So we put a tiny bit. My minhag is to put ice. I put ice in everything, even the best whiskey. Sacrilege. Stuart doesn't like it, but still, sorry Stuart, that's my minhag. Now, I'm coming to the final part. There is one special chamber upstairs. Midrash Ruth talks about it. The uppermost, the loftiest chamber in the heavenly realms. There are many chambers. Yeah, we know about the 7 curtains, and we know that Hashem gave to every tzaddik Shai Olamot 310. The truth is there are infinite Olamot. We only talk about the ones that our revered sages told us about. Right? So, I'm going to read this last paragraph. Okay. There are 4 windows and a middle void in the uppermost heavenly firmament. The word firmament is rakia. And he talks about this rakia. And when it comes to the end of this paragraph, the author says of the Zohar, V'chaser ha'emshech, and I don't have the rest of the text. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, with the text which already laid in front of me, I made a deduction which does fit the text. I'm not guessing what the Hemshech would have been or could have been, but I made a connection with what was said previously. So let me just explain what is this loftiest chamber. This loftiest chamber, it looks like a window, in a manner of speaking. This is just a depiction, right? North, south, west, and east. Okay, this is just the idea, but just a window, basically. And this special chamber with the winds, so to speak, inverted commas. Spirits and divine inspiration and holiness all goes through that. Now, there are numerous parameters, entities, and secrets herein. And that's what the Zohar says, midrash root. According to Rabbi Perachia. Everybody knows about Rabbi Perachia? Pirkei Avot talks about his son, Rabbi Yoshua ben Perachia. Pirkei Avot, that's the father. It's not written much about the father, but here is the father. What happened to the father? Like many great sages, like Rabbi Akiva and several others, they went into Kabbalistic meditation. The neshama left the body. He went to the upper realms. He talked to the angels. Secrets were revealed. Arizal did likewise. Baal Shem Tov and many other, not many, but select number of sages had this experience. And this is why it is dangerous. No person should attempt it. We won't be able to succeed anyway. But if we were to succeed, when neshama leaves the body, the neshama doesn't want to come back because it's so nice and warm and comfortable up there. So it has to be brought down. We have the famous Masechet Hagigah, Arba'a Nichnasu Pardes, 4 entered the orchard, heavenly realm, and 3, something wrong happened to them. 1 died, 1 became heretic, 1 became a Mishigane. 1 went out peacefully and came back peacefully, Shalem Begufo Benafsho, completely as he was as Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Perachia had a similar experience, which is not publicized. Nevertheless, let's see what Rabbi Perachia is telling about his heavenly experience, who he met up there and what he was told. The lofty firmament is above and separate from all others. It's extremely beautiful and colorful, more than anything else. The master angel in charge has the keys to that particular door. He mentions the name of the malach, okay? There are different malach. The name of the malach comes from the word to help. Like Azriel, okay? That's the name of the malach is very similar to this name, not exactly. For example, and there's another to do Yofiel, it's to do with Yofi, with beauty. He is responsible for the Torah, whatever that means. And there are different palaces and different guards. On every palace there is a guard, only entering the people that are accepted. Now, for the righteous one who reads the Shema perfectly, that's a very important chapter. This is why when we read the Shema, I do it too fast, I must admit. I see people do the Kavanah, they take longer, and that's the correct way to do that. I have to work on my Shema. For those who do not eat before prayer, don't, lo tochal al adam, unless you're ill and you have to eat or drink something before davening, we are not supposed to. We have to ask for our soul when we go to daven in the morning first thing. There are exceptions. If you learn in the morning, you do other things, but generally. For Mashiach, there's also a special place for Mashiach there. And a special chapter for Adam, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, who are buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron, and so on and so forth. And the 10 Sfirot are unified by the 4 windows. The 4 windows imply and signify the name of Havaya, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. 4, okay? Now, and it indicates the 4 corners of the world and the 4 corners of the tzitzit. You see, this is not mambo jumbo. Anything in Kabbalah must relate to down here. If it's not related, it cannot be proper learning. It has to be related. Judaism is very much grounded. This is not hocus pocus, and this is not just a Dvarim Be'alma. You know, it has to be connected and integrated in this world. And the 3 lines between the 4 letters, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, there are three lines connecting between the letters. They are the 3 times we pray a day. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shacharit, Mincha, Ve'arvit, or Mariv. Okay? So you get a bit of the symbolism. Now, those who enter the special chamber, I mentioned about Kriyat Shema, he has to have a first test. Adam HaRishon is waiting outside this chamber. For the person who is given, he is the examiner. When you read the Shema perfectly, you don't have to read it perfectly in terms of your Havara, your Bitu, you know, the way you read it, Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Yemenite, there's no problem with that. But not to miss a word. When Adam HaRishon noticed a person who was on that level, he hugs him, and he passes him to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, who greet him and then give him a place in the upper realm. So when we talk about the great tzaddikim and this and the other, this piece of the Zohar teaches us that really and truly, a simple Kriyat Shema, you don't have to do meditation like Rabbi Avulafia. You don't have to mention names. You don't have to do, all these complicated things. Just read the Shema. Can you imagine the reward for reading the Shema? Did you read this? So when we get to 120, hopefully Mashiach will be well beforehand, and we won't have to go through this process. This is until now, until Mashiach. After Mashiach, well, hopefully we have a resurrection of the dead, rebuilding of the temple, there'll be no that, and nobody has to go through it. But nevertheless, the Zohar gives you an insight, and what happens when you learn the Zohar gives you hayshek to keep the mitzvot. Of course, there are places in the Gemara, in the Mishnah, in the Midrash. I'm learning at the moment Yalkut Shimoni online, free of charge. I don't have to buy the books. It's available on the internet, in Ivrit. Yalkut Shimoni has a similar style to this, I want to tell you. One of the most famous, greatest midrashim. And he also talks about rewards. So just keeping a mitzvah. We're coming to Sukkot soon. Just do the lulav, just do the sukkah, just whatever is mundane, and you think, it's nothing. Don't think it's nothing. In the eyes of Hashem, there is no such thing as nothing. Anything that we do is treasured. And if we can't do it ourselves, we connect with others. The whole idea is Kol Israel Chaverim, as we say in Shul, Birkat HaChodesh. And the rabbi said, Al Tikra Chaverim, Ela Mechubarim. We all join together. This is why when we do Siyum, it's not just us here in Edgware, it's the whole of Edgware, the whole of London, the whole of England, and the whole universe is rejoicing with us. And when I explained to my Gentile friends that Rosh Hashanah is not just the Jewish New Year, and I explained to them that it's the universal New Year, they begin to understand what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do the Hadran. Then I'm going to do a very long and complicated Kaddish. I'm going to break my teeth on it. This is a special long Kaddish, which is very Kabbalistic, and it's very pshatnik. It's to do with both with the rebuilding of Yerushalayim and the temple, and no more sin, no more death. That's a beautiful Kaddish. I wrote an interpretation of this Kaddish many years ago when Rabbi Rabinovich was here. It passed his seal of approval, I'm pleased to say. I have not published it. I can't put everything to everybody because it's a bit involved, but this is the most beautiful Kaddish that we read at the end. And just to finish with a light-hearted story, there's a true story, it's not a joke. We went on one of the cruises to Alaska. We've been to Alaska. I've seen most of the world by now in the last 12 years, Baruch Hashem. And when you see nature, when you see places like Hawaii and Alaska, and you see Mamash the Shekhinah, you get to say lots of brachot, Borei Maaseh Bereshit, Oseh Hayam HaGadol, you get so many places. Marabu Maasecha Hashem, Kulam B'chokhmah Asita, all the psukim of Tehillim, that David HaMelech was wondering how God created this. So I took my shofar out, and I blew the shofar on the deck. A bit of an exhibitionist. Nobody took any notice. I went to this little old lady. She was really little and she was old. It's not just a story. So I said to her, dear lady, do you know what I'm doing? She said, of course. You're calling the moose from the forest to come. Because we are in the forest of Alaska. We've seen dolphins, we've seen whales. Some people went to see the bears and the salmons. So anyway, moose is a bit heavy to eat, but we didn't have them. We saw the moose much later on in a wild environment, but it was a little story. Okay. If you want to stand, you can stand. If you want to stay sitting down, okay. Hadran Seder Zohar. דעתן הלך סדר זוהר ודעתן עלן. לא נדשם מנך סדר זוהר ולא תתנשים מנן ולא בעלמא אדם ולא בעלמא דייתי. הערב נא אדוני אלוהינו דברי תורתך בפינו ופיות עמך בית ישראל ונהיה כולנו אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי צאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל כולנו ידעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה מאויבי תחכמני מצוותיך כי לעולם היא לי יהי לבי תמיד בחוקיך למען לא אבוש לעולם לא אשכח פקודיך כי בם חייתני ברוך אתה אדוני למדני חוקיך אמן 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 סלע סלע ועד מודה אני לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ששמת חלקים מיושבי בית המדרש ולא שמת חלקים מיושבי קרנות שאני משכים והם משכימים אני משכים לדברי תורה והם משכימים לדברים בטלים אני עמל והם עמלים אני עמל ומקבל שכר והם עמלים ואינם מקבלים שכר אני רץ והם רצים הם רצים לבאר שחת, ואני רץ לחיי העולם הבא. שנאמר, ואתה אלוהים תורידם לבאר שחת. אנשי דמים ומרמה לא יחצו ימיהם, ואני אפתח בך. יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאהבתנו. כשם שסייעתנו לסיים את הזוהר, כך תעזרני להתחיל ספרים אחרים ולסיימם, ללמוד וללמד מתוך הרחבה, לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. וזכות כל התנאים והאמוראים ותלמידי חכמים הנזכרים בזוהר ובכל הספרים שלמדתי, תעמוד לי ולזרעי ולזרע זרעי, שלא תמוש התורה הקדושה מפי ומפי זרעי וזרע זרעי מעתה ועד עולם. ויקוים בנו מקרא שכתוב, בהתהלכך תנחה אותך, ובשכבך תשמור עליך, וקיצותה והיא תשיחך, כי בי ירבו ימיך ויוסיף לך שנות חיים. אורך ימים בימונה, עושר וכבוד בשמאלה, אדוני אבזעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ועל מה דהיו עתיד להתחדתה, ולאחייאה מתיה, ולעסקה יתהון, ולחיי עלמה, ולמבנה קרתד ירושלם, ולשכללה היכלה בגבה, ולמעקר פולחנה נקראה מנערה, ולעטבה פולחנה דשמיה לאתרי, וימליך קודשה בריחו במלכותי יקרה, ויצמח פורקנה ויקרב בשכחה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיית לכל בישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידיהם ועל כל תלמידי תלמידיהם ועל כל מאן דעוסקים באורייתא קדישתא, די בעטרה הדן ודי בכל אתר ואתר, יהיה לנו לכל שלמה רבה, חילה וחסדה ורחמים וחיים אריכין, ומזוני רוויחי ופורקנה מקדם אבוהל ישמעיה והרב, אמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמעיה וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמרו אמן. ועושה שלום במרומיו וברחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמרו אמן. Got to mention one thing as a punchline to finish off the siyum. What is special about this western window? The western window in the uppermost chamber has got lights and beautiful colors of the rainbow, and the colors dim and shine intermittently. So Rabbi Parachia says, what does that mean? He asked the angel, what does that mean? He saw the name of Hashem, the Havaya, the 4 letters of Hashem engraved and surround that window. So he said, why are the lights going on and off? And then the text terminated. And I'll make up the text according to my learning. This western window is the one from which refuah, healing, comes, and Geulah, redemption, comes. There are 2 re'ayot, 2 proofs for that. One of them is in the Amidah. Yirmiyahu says, Rafa'enu Hashem v'nerafeo she'enu v'nivashea. Heal us first, Hashem, and then we will be redeemed. So refuah, healing, comes before redemption in the Amidah. Jeremiah says it in the singular, and the Amidah says it in the plural. So refuah, we are in a state of affliction, the Jewish people. We are not perfect, we are not right. And therefore he says that before we can do the right things in the eyes of Hashem, we have to be healed. We have to fix our inadequacies. And therefore, the angel of the healing, Raphael, he is sitting in the heavenly chariot on the western side. This is why Hashem left the western side of the temple. HaKotel HaMa'aravi, the Wailing Wall, is on the western side. And the Romans could not destroy it. To show us, to remind us that the redemption will come from the west, in a manner of speaking, because the healing angel, Malach Raphael, will come and heal us first, as Jeremiah says, as the Amidah says. Once we are healed and we're not afflicted and we do things perfectly, then Hashem will bring us a salvation. And of course, just to mention one more thing, on Erev Shabbat, Friday evening, when we say Kabbalat Shabbat, Lecha Dodi, we do Lecha Dodi, and what happens? We turn to the west, right? Initially anyway, and we come back, and that's where the sunset is, and when we know redemption will come from that direction. So please God, amen, that Hashem will send us the redemption and the complete healing, and we'll marry Bet HaMikdash v'Rabbi Amenu. Thank you very much.